go. There we go.
Oh.
We on. We just jump right in it. You jump right in it. So what's up, Miss Jess? What's going on?
A lot of
What's
life
going
changes.
on beneath your ink?
Beneath my ink. Oh, I can actually say that because I'm actually tatted.
I've had a few people on here that she couldn't even say that, but yeah, you're new to the club.
Yeah.
New member. So what's going on? What's going on with you? A lot.
Probably say evolution.
Yeah.
A lot of change these last few years, but I'd probably say most importantly these last 6 to 7 months.
Been some monumental.
Lots of losses, and probably some of the worst months of my life in my adult life. But you know what? There's a lot of being on this side of things. It's beautiful.
Yeah. You feel like you're like kind of like going through this. You already went through the storm. You're seeing like the sunshine on the other side, or that kind of thing.
I'd say November and December were probably the worst years of my adult life. And proudly being able to just sit in the discomfort with abstaining from sex, not doing any drugs, no alcohol, no distractions, just literally me, the universe, and my journal. Oh, and Tina. I can't forget Tina.
Yeah, Tina, yeah.
And Tina.
So taking all that stuff away, you feel like you got a lot of like clarity during that time? Do you think you would have been able to like all that abstinence or you know, just not indulging in certain things, you think you would have been where you're at today, or those things would have kind of like, you know, distracted or kind of numbed the feelings and made you act differently?
So for me, I'm not huge on drugs or alcohol in general. I mean, to each their own, whatever they do. But I stopped really drinking, and I don't do drugs. I seldom smoke weed because in general, I just want to operate from a place of consciousness and without anything that is distracting.
Yeah.
And with the amount of pain that I was experiencing, I think something that's really valuable in that pain and is really important for a lot of people is sometimes that pain makes you go back to what's familiar. And then that causes you more pain. So I had choices to sit with myself and say, this shit really fucking hurts. Can I curse on here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do anything. Free range.
Like, this shit really hurts. But I know that I don't want to go through this again and keep repeating the cycle of pain. So I don't have a choice but to
feel it,
thug it out, feel it, process it, like literally crippling pain. Just me in my bed crying and uncontrollably and trying my best to like deal with it on my own. And I had people that I had conversations with, and it was extremely helpful to offload it, but I still had to sit with myself and really process what I'm being called to do, understanding why this is happening, and just really owning that.
Yeah. You mentioned like journaling too. Yeah, but you did quite a bit of that, huh? Because that's like really, you know, offloading too. You know what I mean? Just getting it out of your head sometimes is all you need to do. You know, the more you, I've always realized that like the more, even how you're saying, like basically we're just talking about like just taking stuff to the chin, like whatever experiences that life's throwing at you, just like really taking them head on. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's easy to like just shut off and, oh, let me just go do this, let me go do that. Like I literally did that the other day. You know what I mean? It was just one of them days, and I now I'm so aware of it. I know exactly what I'm doing. Like it's not like, oh, I don't know how. No, I'm like, I'm checking out for the day. I know it's like weak. You kind of it's basically giving in or caving in, but it's like, you know what? I'm about to just escape for a day, and then I'm gonna recollect and start from scratch the next day. You know what I mean? I had that moment. So, but again, it is yeah, you got to be able to face the consequences too, because then sometimes it makes that shit 10 times worse. If you
It
always go back
does.
and be like, damn, I should have just stayed.
Take it to the chin.
Yeah, been more proactive instead of trying to numb out. But yeah, it's real interesting. So that's, I commend you for doing that. You know what I mean? And we see the
Thank
results
you.
of it. Like you said, you get through the storm, and
Yeah.
I think you just have so much more clarity. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like anything that you're doing, whether it's sex or alcohol, whatever, like it affects your judgment.
It
You know what I
does,
mean?
because we find these things that soothe the pain temporarily. And you mentioned my journaling, like, I'm no different than other people that have gone through healing. And I think healing is a lifelong thing. Anybody that you meet that doesn't think they have to heal or thinks that they're completely healed is full of shit. Because when you start to heal, it starts to open up other aspects of you that you become more aware of. Now, do you want to heal them in that moment? You don't necessarily have to. You get to pick and choose what parts you want to heal.
Yeah.
But having sat with my journal and really identifying, what is this linked to? Why do I feel this pain? Why, when this happens, do I feel this? Because you'll come to realize that our minds play tricks on us.
Yeah.
They create this false reality, and we believe it. And we're the number one con artist for ourselves, because we allow ourselves to think those things and then do things that contribute to more of those things.
Yeah. No, that's true. Even like there's so much. I'm always listening. I can't remember like verbatim how they say it, but like there's so many even physical, like you said, our mind and our body plays tricks on us. Like even when you're mad, there's parts of the brain that shut off to where you can't even make decisions and stuff. Like all this stuff is really real. You know what I mean? And I feel like the more you know about it, the more you can like catch yourself. Like, hold up, let me not make this decision because I'm mad. My frontal cortex is turned off. You know what I mean? Sex does a whole lot of things to your all your processes and stuff like that. So that's why I think when you're saying like you kind of didn't indulge in all those things, you do. We essentially have more clarity. You know what I mean? We're able to use all our senses better as opposed to like just doing a little shut off or whatever and just reacting.
And that shut off is a defense mechanism for a lot of people. Actually, one of the statistics that I learned is that a lot of, I guess you could say friendships as well, but mostly relationships are made up of 60% are avoidant personalities where they shut down and retreat. And then the other part of it, the other half, is usually anxiously attached people that are like, what the fuck? I'm just trying to love you, right? Yeah. But also, they're dealing with abandonment issues. And so I said all that to say, like, in our friendships, in our relationships, and in things that we attract, it's really important to know what type of personality you have.
Yeah.
Because then when things happen and they feel normal for you, like when you're reacting to something, it feels normal. That's the wrong thing. It shouldn't feel normal. It shouldn't feel like, oh yeah, I do this shit all the time. When you start to counteract and are aware of like, I'm being triggered right now. I'm being reactive to this. Something is being triggered within you.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you can catch it, sit in it for a second before you respond. Like if you're naturally one of those people that's like, there's conflict, I'm shutting down, I'm not going to talk about this. That is the natural response for someone who's an avoidant personality, which is usually developed because they were neglected by parents, or they've had to process their own emotions on their own.
But what would you say you are?
I think anxiously attached.
Yeah. I'm literally the avoidant, but sure.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you already know. Because even when people try to like, like reach out and help, but I almost have is this the right word? Like a visceral, like a response to it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's very interesting. I catch myself, like I said, because I always am trying to be aware of all these things. So it's like the more you're aware, the more you're like, damn, I really in that. You know what I mean? That really is. Like, I had a moment the other day where somebody was doing that, and like in my mind, one part of me should have been like, okay, yeah, I get it, you're right, this and that. But all I could think of is what I could. I know I didn't though. I sat with it and I didn't like act on it, but I could have. I just wanted to say all these other things. Basically, that summed up to like, man, you take care of your shit, and then you
Yeah.
holla at me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it was
Yeah.
very like that, and I was just like, damn, I caught it like real time. I was like, damn, boy, that's really triggering. This is making me really want to like say this and that.
Yeah.
But all I was just like, oh, it's what I think I don't feel like talking. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I think I just like avoided it. Still avoided it, you know what I mean, but didn't act on it like my initial response was gonna be. But yeah, it's kind of funny how your mind just it's almost a mind of its own sometimes. It's weird.
And that's the healing that I was doing in October, November, December, was identifying those triggers, because once you know about it, the only other thing that you can do is do something about it. There's some people that'll sit in it and are just like, oh, I know what I am. And I'm going to tell people I know what I am.
No action, no.
But they don't do shit about it.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like when you start to do things, when you start to heal, I can see why they say it's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, ain't nothing fun about that healing stuff.
It's not. And it hurts. Like literally, mentally and physically, it hurts. But having those months to really process that, and then being able to detach myself from certain situations, made me stronger and more aware of like my triggers. But the journaling and like, okay, why do you feel abandonment? Why, when something's uncomfortable with you? Because this is something that translates into my friendships as well. I do, for the most part, have a very I don't give a fuck about like what people think of me personality in my business and in my personal. I don't have a whole lot of people. I have my 6 pillars of people. And these are the people that I would have never known 2 years ago would be the people that would help coach me through this part of my life. But those are my 6 pillars. And the pillars are these different relationships, friendships that I've built with these 6 individuals. And all of which serve a different purpose in my life. I have one that I can go hang out with, have a great time, go to dinner, happy hour, have the time of our life. I have another one where I'm like, can I come spend the night? You know, sleep on your couch, we'll eat, we'll chill out, whatever, like those kinds of things.
Yeah.
But having those pillars and having my journal and making sure that these 6 pillars matter to me.
Yeah. And I feel like that's super important too. Like even just having like I don't know, like the humility or whatever to even say, I need these people. Because I think that's my big problem is like, for so long, I'm like, oh, I can do this. I can work hard. I'm going to outwork this person, or I don't need to sleep that much. I'll make this happen, or I'll read a book and self-heal, or do, you know what I mean? It's always like, I'll do it myself.
That's your defense mechanism.
Yeah, and it's like the more you try to do that, life will show you like, nah, bro, you ain't got this. You know what I mean? Because I don't think nobody is out here moving that way. You know what I mean? Like everybody has like either they got religion and they're gonna they just take their hands like Jesus or whoever take the wheel. Like in some way you hand it off to somebody, at least for moments in time, to where you can like collect yourself. All right, let me readdress it. But to walk around and think like, nah, I got this, and you know, a lot of people self-made and this and that. You know, people get tattoos. People get tattoos commemorating that vibe. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's very damaging. I think, you know what I mean, when you put it, think about it.
I don't think that any of us are truly self-made. I do think that it does take a person's own thought processes and actions to make things happen, but it's all through observation and motivation. Having people that you surround yourself around with that are like, you know what, during this conversation, I'm going to take this away from it. Or I went to this mastermind, I'm going to take this nugget. And you start to implement those things into your life in any aspect, whether you're a business owner or not, who your personality, how people dress, how people talk. They were inspired by someone or something. Yeah. So you're not self-made. You have inspiration from other things, and we should give credit to those things if we can remember. Sometimes we're programmed subconsciously with things that we may hear on occasion. Like I may listen to, which I do all the time, 3 or 4 different podcasts, and then I'll see a commonality amongst all of them. And then when I go to reference it, I'm like, shit, which one did I pull it from? But I have to give credit that it was from a podcast. It could have been from this one or this one, but
yeah, it almost makes me wonder, like, you know, the saying, like, we're all connected, we're all one.
totally.
It's like those things like that make you be like, you know what, we really are. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because, like you said, nobody's waking up and just doing something super original every day. Like, you can think of how many business ideas I've talked with people, and they'll be, oh man, I got this cool idea. Oh, for real, let's look in Google. Boom. Oh, there's like 100 of them already. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're all just a collective of ideas and everything. You know, actually, Tina was when we talked about it a little bit, and because I was on, we was talking about this. I was like, you know, I do got to go in that mode of like, I got this, I can figure it out. Like, I don't need no help, that kind of stuff. And then she was like, "No, but like everybody needs help. Like, you like anything. Like, I didn't build this house. I didn't make this sweater. I mean, I tailored it a little bit, but you know, I didn't make. Yeah, you know, like these shoes. I didn't make these. Like, somebody helped me by making the shoes, and somebody helped me by giving me patronizing my business or whatever, to where I could buy the shoe. Like, we're all working together. You know what I mean? So when you really go down to that level of it, it's like ain't nobody doing nothing by themselves. We're all relying on somebody, but in one way or another, you know.
And I feel like that's ego. There's a lot of ego attached to I did it myself, when in reality we should be operating from gratitude and being thankful and understanding that we don't have to do it on our own. Yeah. And I think that that's a huge thing. Yes, I'm pissing people off right now.
Yeah, bring it.
I'm so fucking sick of hearing women say, when I find this man, I'm gonna calm down and be more feminine. No, ma'am. You got to become the feminine. Yeah. To attract that type of masculine. But I said all that to say that comes from embracing more of the femininity. And I think that men and women should have a balance of both. I do think there's a lot of men nowadays that have more of the feminine and less of the masculine.
Yeah, and what do you think that's about? We're definitely seeing some shifts for sure. Like, it's the scales are tipping, and it's like, it's just like anything else. I think there's positives that come from it. You know what I mean? Women empowerment, you guys, you know, just all the things that come with like being kind of somewhat equal. But then we're also seeing a lot of like, to me, I think they're like negative effects. You know what I mean? As far as like relations, and you know, people laugh at the fact of being in a relationship sometimes nowadays when you talk to them. It's like, or being married. These are things that like, ooh, no, or like having kids. Like, ooh, I'm trying to get my bag. Like, I don't need no kids messing my plans. Like that.
That's what we're programmed for now.
Yeah.
And I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't say that I am woman hearing war, right? It's in my business, but it stems from hyper independence. It stems from me having to survive. There's a shift that happens, and I think that this happens with a lot of people. I'm no psychologist, but I do observe people. I'm an empath in the business that I work in. There's a lot of emotional things attached to decisions that need to be made, and it's usually stemmed from childhood. I think that there are a lot of men that are operating more from the feminine aspect because who is their example on how to be a man? Yeah. Yeah. Right. We're
a lot of fatherless homes, for sure.
And even if fathers are present, not all the time, right? There are households that have mom and dads that are semi-healthy, right? They can handle conflict. They've been together for a long time, but it's very rare. Like, when was the last time you had a conversation with someone that was like, oh yeah, I had both my parents and everything was fine. Yeah. Yeah. They were a great example of marriage.
Yeah, bitch. I don't even know if I have.
I didn't either.
You know me, like I'm still looking for that kind of stuff. But yeah, no, I think that is a big point. I don't think that's something that a lot of people like even think about. You know what I mean? Like, all these fatherless homes, and that's why I kind of try to take fatherhood pretty serious, because I'm like a result of that. You know what I mean? Like, a result of not having that male influence, and then any male influence I did see, just kind of like, you know, from peeking on, oh, okay, this is how they move. None of it was really positive. You know what I mean? It was all kind of mindsets that kind of like keep you at this level. You know what I mean? So it's anybody out there like that doesn't necessarily have that male influence. Like, man, almost like how I did. I have to watch podcasts and all these different these interviews with these authors and different men that are, you know, influential or like successful men. It's like you almost have to like reach and go look for them. Because if not, you're just looking at music videos and movies and shit. It's
and
like,
that's your only example.
Yeah, you can create a pretty like toxic identity for yourself. You know what I mean? And not even know why until you really start thinking like, damn, okay, why do I do this or why I do that? And like, oh well, shit, no wonder. I was just looking. What I do, and then you just pick shit up. You know, it's very interesting.
And you start to notice behaviors. At least I do. Over time, people will show you who they are.
Yeah.
And you just have to be patient. You can only control yourself in situations. And be it friendships, relationships, clients, anything. In the beginning, it's always simple. You hit it off with somebody, things feel great. Just wait it out. Observe them. And I'm not saying put them through the ringer. I'm not saying
test them.
It's it's not a test. It's just be patient and see what happens. Because people will ultimately show you who they are. And it's up to you to pick and choose. And that's another thing too, not even just about femininity, but people that are like, oh, there's only trash people out here. There's only, shitty people out here. And it's because that's what they attract. That's what they allow.
Yeah.
I was watching a podcast the other day, and it made a lot of sense that they were saying that there are two sets of rules for people. One set is for people that they're attracted to, and one set is before anyone's even in the picture. So before there's anyone in the picture, you write this whole list of this is what my person has to be. Yet the moment you like somebody, that fucking list goes out the window.
Yep. It goes to that stimulations and
it does.
It's like visually stimulating, or they say something that reminds you of whatever, some actor or actress, like the swag, like something. And that's why I always like when I think of like meeting somebody and like being with intentions and all that, like I always am like, man, like I don't think in a lot of party settings that's like the best place to do it.
It's the wrong place.
It's the wrong place because we all walk around with some sort of mask on all the time already, right? But when we are in that setting, we got about 3 or 4 or 5 masks. Like that mask is extra big or whatever. And I think we're kind of kidding ourselves when we think like we're gonna like find somebody and like build a strong foundation in that kind of setting. You know what I mean? Because you're playing against all like we was talking about, the brain kind of playing tricks on you and all the stimulation. What was I gonna say? What would you say to like? I know we were talking about the women that are kind of like in that position to kind of like move in their quote unquote like masculine energy. Like, how do you think? Well, one, I guess it happens, right? Because they usually either they don't have a man or they have kids to where they try to fill both shoes, right? Of the two parents. How did you have any advice on how to kind of like, I guess, get a little bit more balance with the masculine and feminine?
Totally. And I can't speak from a perspective from kids because I don't have kids and I don't ever want to say that I understand what that feels like. From a more feminine standpoint now, allowing help, accepting help, understanding we're not in it by ourselves, but you can only develop those relationships once you have better boundaries and discernment for yourself and you understand. Because 2 years ago, I was losing friends left and right, and I was like, holy shit, I'm the common denominator. Like, what's going on here? What's happening? And little did I know it was the universe setting me up for this new phase in my life. I wasn't losing friends. I was gaining my 6 pillars.
Gotcha.
Right? But
you probably had to make room, I mean, so to speak, like make room for the new stuff coming in.
And then just understanding that the law of attraction is real. And I live it and believe it in every other aspect of my life. So when it comes to the whole feminine and masculine thing, the internet got people fooled right now.
Oh, yeah.
Women think, I want an alpha. No, you don't, baby. Alphas are amazing and they're very driven, but they're very tunnel vision and they're very direct and they're very dominant. I don't want that in my everyday life.
Yeah. That's a good point. And I don't think people, I haven't heard too many people talk about that. And I think that's a really good point because I do hear when I talk to women about like what they want and they do explain that person. But then I even say, I'm like, but that person comes, like you said, it's hyper focused, very diligent, don't got time. Like, and I kind of not to like label myself an alpha, but like I have times where I think that way. Like, why would I like say if I'm going out to entertain a woman or go on a date? I literally in my mind, unless I have a couple of drinks in my mind, I'm saying I should be doing this. I should be being proactive. I should have did this. I should have made this move. I should be making money. I should be doing something for my house. Like it's very hard for me to turn that off and just be present with a woman and just enjoy that feminine essence in that moment. I was just talking about that last night, and that's maybe kind of what it is. It's like as men, actually, even my friend, she asked me like, "What is that about?" And I was like, "Well, I was telling her, I was like, men are, I don't know if we're like, I guess yeah, we're programmed and we're thought to. This is what you're supposed to do for all these years and years and years. Men are supposed to be doing X, Y, and Z. You're supposed to be providing. Supposed to be in good shape. Whatever all this kind of stuff.
Can I stop you real quick?
Yeah, yeah.
When we say provide.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And when I say
ultimately
that financially,
it's money. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So provide financially, and when that's not happening, it could even be happening, but if it's not happening to the extent that he wants it to happen in his mind, there's really nothing you can do to that man or like to like get him out of that mode because he's not where he wants to be. You know what I mean? That man has to really have a conversation with himself and be like, where does my shit cap out? Like, where will I be okay to where then I can have like a nice balance and then be able to experience other parts of life? And that's what I've been struggled with because I'm always like, I'll get pretty good. I'll do an accomplishment or whatever, but then I'm like, I'll sit with it for a second. And, all right, let's go to the next thing. Like, I don't never say, okay, cool. It's time to go on a vacation or like it's time to like, oh, let me go on some dates and see entertain this woman or whatever. It's I guess keep pushing. And what happens is it's pretty sad actually. It's like you move so much that yeah, you've done a lot of shit, but you really haven't because you're not experiencing it fully. You know what I mean? Because you're going so quick through it, and then you look back and be like, damn, I'll just whatever, broke a bunch of hearts, and did all this, and
what do I have to show for it?
Yeah, what do you got to show for it? You were moving so fast through life, so there's something to be said about that. But I think I wanted to say that because I want women to like recognize that because they might recognize that in their husband. Their husband ain't working all the time because he just don't want to be with them. He's trying.
It could be.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true too.
When you have a household that's
I
don't even know the word. I'm like it's toxic, chaotic.
Yeah, that is true.
But to your point about providing and all these things, and also not embracing the moment, is a trauma response from anxiety because we're constantly worried about the future. But in terms of celebrating your wins in the moment, that's extremely important because what the fuck are we doing this for? Why are we doing these things? Why, at least for me, I wonder, why am I creating this ripple effect of change if I'm not going to embrace it or celebrate it?
Yeah.
And that's a little bit of imposter syndrome. Like there's a lot of different things, we're complex creatures. But when you identify things like I should be celebrating, like when we do that event, I don't know how, but we're going to celebrate that somehow because that's a huge ripple effect that we're making on the community. But a year ago, I'd have been like, no, it's done. It's over. Like, what's the next event?
Yeah.
Right? But to go back to like the femininity and masculinity aspect of things, providing for a man, at least for me, right? These are thoughts when I think of provide, are safety. It's not just financial. Yeah, you need to hold your own weight and you establish like financially the person that you're with, what your livelihood is going to look like. Right? What are our non-negotiables together? So when you're dating and you're talking to people, these are the kind of intentional conversations you should have. People come and they go very quickly because like I said, they show you who they are. But when you find someone that you're like, okay, maybe you. What does it look like when you go on vacation? Just that how they say you can't go on vacation with everybody. Same thing for relationships, friendships. How do you behave? Do you get drunk out of your fucking mind and I'm gonna have to babysit you? Because that's not a vacation for me. I'll go on vacation by myself. Right? Do you travel business class, first class? Like what does that look? So establishing those things, right? And then you can determine if that person can, in a sense, provide the lifestyle you desire. Is this a lifestyle that you're creating for yourself? Right? So that's one level of providing. But I think most importantly, knowing myself and knowing that I'm a real empath that I feel people, that I understand energies. I experience people when I sit with them. I feel things that most people don't. Mm-hmm. My person has to be able to hold space for that and provide safety by allowing me to say this, and this. This is how I feel. This is what I'm experiencing. If they're reactive to that in a negative manner and cannot process emotion, they are not the right receiver to provide the safety that I desire.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. I think that safety is a big part of it because I always try to think about everything as like our primal instincts and stuff, right? So it's like back in the day, safety consisted of, making sure you don't get ate by a lion or something, whatever, a saber-tooth tiger, whatever it is. And it's like now that you feel me, like now that we've evolved and we're like, we don't necessarily have those dangers, that safety need is still there though, but now it's just applied to like whatever. Like we go to the club and you have too much to drink. Am I gonna leave you at the club, or am I gonna?
Are we gonna fight at the club?
Yeah, we're gonna fight at the club, or am I gonna be so drunk that where you have to take care of me, I can't defend you. Like those triggers, those say, oh, this entity, this person is not able to provide safety for me, and that's gonna be a triggering thing. You know what I mean?
And that's not gonna change.
Yeah, and
people are who they are.
That's like in bed. That's innate in us, right? But I think people don't understand that. Just like, oh, he got drunk, she got drunk, and
it's
that
fine.
pissed me off, and woo woo, and then they're not really understanding. That's why you got that, because that time you was not able to be he couldn't save you if something happened, or he couldn't drive you, or he couldn't get you home to safety because he couldn't drive, whatever it is. And that's just one. That's just like alcohol. Like it can come.
But people ignore those things.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that doesn't translate. Like if this person can't handle their alcohol, that likely tells you that when things are bad or wrong, they're drinking. That's how they handle the shit that they're going through. Right? When I come across people, and this is no judgment, it's just an observation. They're fucking high out of their minds all the time. They're drunk all the time. They dip off and they come back and you're like, did you just go play with your nose? Like,
yeah, because you flying a little higher now, right now. Yeah.
I notice everything.
Yeah.
And when you're a sober person in a room full of drunks, or people drinking, because I don't want to label them all drunks, because they may not be.
Yeah.
But when you're a sober person in a room full of people drinking, or higher out of their fucking minds, you experience life very differently. Yeah.
I'll be honest, I don't even like it. I can't even do it. I don't even like to be around. It's just I don't even care to be in it.
No.
You said one thing that I want to kind of go back to, was super interesting. Well, when you were saying like people will show up, give them some time and they'll show up how they're going to show up. So I definitely agree with that. And I think, so what do you do in that moment? Like say some things happen, because basically, when situations happen and when the going gets tough, that's when you see people's real character, because you see how they react to it, right? But what do you do with that moment? Because I always try to like almost address it from like a place of like empathy. Like, okay, something happened, whatever. Say your man's financially not as hurting or whatever, and he gets super depressed and all that. He starts acting out. He starts whatever. Maybe he does start messing with substances or something. Do you like, oh, this is how you're reacting, and that's not a safe, that's not an act of being safe or providing safety for me or whatever. So that's not gonna work for me. Or do you just say, okay, or do you try to like dig in a little bit? Okay, if I was him, I was raised by parents, they did the exact same thing. Like, do you try to analyze a little bit and talk about it, communicate? Or do you just kind of,
I think that marriage is not for everyone. I'm definitely a marriage person with the right person, obviously. But in my marriage, we do that. There have been times of self-reflection. There have been times of, okay, what can I do to help better support this person? But we have to realize that you can't help anyone who does not want the help.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, and this is the part of femininity, and this is also the part of relationships where, do I express empathy? Yes. However, If you're choosing to go back over and over and over and over, you're choosing your reality.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the tough part because, especially like then it goes back to the personality types. Because if you are that avoidant, not accepting of help, it's just you just being a dead horse at that point, and then you have to, I guess, like come to the point where you understand and realize it, and that's where you be like, you know what, I can't. Now you're just draining me because now I'm trying to help you. You're not
And you don't
accepting,
want
so
help.
my help is just going in the wind. Like it's not. It's you know what I mean.
But we as anxiously avoidant, which I want to take a minute and say I'm probably not as anxiously attached because I've healed through it the last 2 years. But being aware of it, there's nothing from an anxiously attached perspective that we can do to help an avoidant personality. We have to help ourselves. Anxiously attached people have to pour more into themselves and love on themselves more.
Because they're more naturally.
They have to pull back.
They naturally want to put out and love on other people, right?
And they love without boundaries. They're not innocent in all this. People paint out anxiously or avoidant personalities as like the bad guy, which they can be, but also anxiously attached people can be too. Because you're constantly running after someone who doesn't want your help. So at what point do you say enough is enough? I'm going to love on myself. And if that leads us apart, then so be it. Yeah. Because I am whole. And that's the other thing too. You got a lot of broken motherfuckers in relationships.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say, because there's a level of those personality types where that anxiously attached has lived or moved in that way for so long, it's almost like they can't function unless that person
they're dependent on someone else. That's why 60% of relationships are that. And as much as avoidant personalities like to be in isolation, y'all need people like us because we make you feel alive. Yeah. And understanding that from a greater scope of things helps me understand my anxiously attached personality. I don't think I'm that. And there's certain things that I can't speak about right now, but I don't think that I'm that because of things that I've exercised in my life. Is it there? Yes. But is it as great as it was a couple years ago? No. Because I'm more aware of it. And the way that you asked me how I handled it is through loving on myself more, spending time with my pillars, going to networking events by myself, going and doing things that I enjoy by myself. Loving on me, getting dressed up for me. I wear lingerie in the house for myself. Embracing more of that family. Can you hear my stomach growling?
No. You talk about lingerie, your stomach growling.
Damn it.
That's good. I love it.
Cut this out.
I love it. We all natural. Come on, we rolling. We rolling. You fine.
These allergies, man. It's just killing me. I've been trying not to cough for like 30 minutes.
That's great.
Listen, you better cut this shit out, okay?
That was a quick little break. That was a commercial break right there.
Commercial break. But yeah, no, like.
No, for real though. That's. I think that is the best advice, because there's really. I mean, I guess you could take everything to like a super excessive level of like loving on yourself, and just indulging and all this and that. But like, I don't see too much wrong with that, because it's like the better you're doing, then the better you're able to like help down
because
the road.
I come to you whole. Yeah, I'm not broken. Our brokenness is what connects us to people. Yeah. And that's the toxic cycle. When you realize you're in a toxic cycle, and you can observe yourself from the outside, that's through healing. Yeah. You recognize, holy shit, even though this feels natural to me, this is wrong. That's why they say with chemistry, that's the worst fucking thing you can have in a relationship. It literally, your energies and frequencies are like so reactive. You look for commonalities, not chemistry.
So it's almost more of a like not moving so much off of like the tingles and the butterflies in your stomach, but more off of like, what is like almost like what's on paper, or what's the track record, or like how does
What
your
do we have in
mind,
common?
yeah, like methodically, how do you think or how do you address things and stuff like that, and see what fits.
Those are those two lists again, right? You have your non-negotiables before you meet someone. Mm-hmm. That's the commonalities. This is what I seek in a partner. Then you find somebody that you somewhat like, and you're like, oh, let's go to this list now. Now we can operate from chemistry.
Yeah, I could bend this. We ain't got to do that. Yeah,
the chemistry is toxic.
Yeah. And it's so interesting though, because that's like that. It's really the more powerful urges or the more powerful effects on us too. The chemistry is is real big, and I think that is why, like when you think about, like you said, the percentages of like different personality types and how it's a lot of these turn into like a cat and mouse type of game, but like that's probably why we see these cycles and the divorce rates is this and that and all that, is because we're like trying to win a game or like trying to perfect making something perfect that's really not ever going to or meant to be perfect either.
Yeah, I don't think marriage is perfect. I truly think it just boils down to people that have things in common, that share like their greater, for me, the greater aspects, like what is the bigger picture? Right? The person that I'm with needs to understand that I'm here to do and serve based off of what I'm being told.
Yeah.
I'm being obedient to that. Obedience and discernment and boundaries are so overused right now. More than half of the people that use those fucking words don't even practice them. But when you're being called to do something greater, we all have a purpose. We all have this calling. It's just a matter of who's really tapped in to do it. Who's really going to do the work to do it. So my partner has to understand that.
Yeah.
That this is greater than me. I can't explain it to you. I just know that I feel it and the universe tells me to do something and I do it.
Yeah. I believe that because it's like, it's essentially putting like your purpose first, right?
As we should.
Pretty much. And I don't think, for one, I think a lot of people, if you was to ask them, what is your purpose? They'd probably be like, I never really thought about that. They'd give you, so if you haven't even thought that, you for sure ain't putting it first. No. So then you're just
you're
at the
not
mercy.
My person.
Yeah, you're just at the mercy of like whatever the society is pushing people to do, And I think so. I think that people would get a lot of benefit out of that, like at least exploring that and like what makes them happy, what is their purpose.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, it is serving. So it's like if you're in a relationship where your significant other ain't they're not, he's not backing that up or she's not backing that up and allowing you time and a space to serve people, then you kind of fucked out the gate, you know what I mean? But
because I'm not fulfilled.
Yeah. You here, but you ain't fulfilled. You know what I mean? And
I'm fighting with you in the universe right now.
Yeah.
Like it shouldn't be that. And that's where that masculine and feminine energy needs to come into play. So you have a beta man, you have an alpha male, and I forgot what the one is in the middle. That's the one that's important to me. Because they know when to be more in that feminine. I think every man should have some healthy feminine in them. Yeah. Like that nurturing and that caring. Because when I'm talking on stage or I'm coming home from a 15-hour day, it's not always like that. But those are the times where it may be, hey, can I get you some tea? Can I made you, gender roles to me aren't so much as important as understanding the balance of masculine and feminine. Like, okay, you worked 15 hours today. I made you a peanut butter jelly sandwich, like something like that. Like, here, I know you're hungry.
Yeah.
But because I'm going to do the same thing when my partner is doing those things, right? They're out serving, they're doing whatever they can. I need someone that understands that.
Yeah. And I think the big part of this too is like that person needs to be, I guess, healthy or in a state where they can actually show up and do those things. Because I'll tell you one thing,
and confident.
And confident. Because if you're not winning, say if this man or woman, they're just I'll just put it as a man's perspective. Say a man's not winning, not feeling a certain way, it's very hard to be aware of, oh man, my girl's tired. Let me make sure this is this and that. You're so in your mind, you know what I mean? It's almost like this is what we talked a little bit about it my last episode with James, who's homeless, and I was talking about like you look at a lot of homeless people, yeah, their situation is so crazy. They're so down and out. They don't have this. So what starts leaving? Oh, they don't care about what they're dressed like. They don't care
Their
about the
mental.
hygiene.
Mm-hmm.
Your priorities start changing the worse your situation gets. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's literally the same thing. Like, say I lost my job, I'm not, I put on some weight, I'm not feeling like confident like I used to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be very hard to be like being able to give in to my significant other too. You know what I mean? Because I'm so in here, whether it's depression, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
like I'm so focused on like, well, man, I gotta get out of this. I gotta go to the gym. This and that. You're essentially gonna be start putting yourself first, maybe too.
Mm.
But so yeah, I think that's something I guess for relationships to probably like look at signs of their partner.
Of
You
course,
know what I mean?
to
If their
observe.
partners,
Totally.
whatever, it could be something as even as vain as like just gaining weight or just not getting a deduction in their job or something. Like really conversate and talk about those things because
Mm-hmm.
there's signs of things happening. You know what I mean? And I think that's where all the communication comes in. But
Totally.
a lot of men they don't want to hear it. They go into that to their walls and oh, don't worry about it. I got this. You know what I mean?
I think that's a part of being a great partner or being a great husband. In this case, as we were talking about husband and wife, it's like having that healthy, established conversation, right? Because let's say we get married, right? And at that marriage, you see that I'm into fitness. I'm, really into the things that I'm consuming.
Mm-hmm.
Again, people will show you who they are, right? But let's just say for the sake of this conversation, it's consistent. Like 80% of the time, I'm in the gym, I'm working out, I'm doing, eating the right things, I'm juicing, all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Our partners should have the safety to recognize, baby, you ain't been in the gym in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Let me. How can I support you?
Mm-hmm.
Can I go to the gym with you? Like we can work out separate,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe you work out by yourself in the basement or in the garage. I got you some new weights.
Mm-hmm.
Those kinds of things and conversations create safety. But most people do not have the capabilities to even be vulnerable about how they feel.
Yeah.
Because they weren't taught those tools. And being able to, as a man, accept and receive, hey, this is what I'm saying. You may be processing it differently, but this is my intention.
Mm-hmm.
If a man cannot absorb and understand that, and it's said just like this, right? Not a whole lot of emotion, not profanity, no attitude,
Mm-hmm.
and they come back defensive multiple times over and over, or vice versa. Women say they want men to talk to them all the time, but we have to understand that men deliver messages differently than women.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting when men start to develop those conversation skills and they do start talking.
Mm-hmm.
It's so, and then it's like, oh
it's
shit,
beautiful.
hold on, yeah. It can be, or it could be like, because then the more you're able to like articulate like your feelings and all that, you can kind of like express what that woman's doing too, and
Totally.
that's a tricky one. Women,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to paint everybody with the same brush, but I have found in my experience, women, the accountability department is very, because we're just so used to like man, messing up or being acting this way, acting out, always. Even in media, movies, the man is usually like the source of the problem,
Mm-hmm.
right, in a relationship. So I think we just gotten programmed to like, that's just, oh, the woman having some sort of fault, that's just not even going to be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just something I've observed, because when the more I've learned how to like communicate, I have like spoken up and said things, and it's like the reaction I've gotten has been real interesting. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost a what's it called? It just wasn't received in like, oh yeah, okay, I understand.
You're probably talking to broken ears. That's the problem.
Yeah. Which is so what's the percentage on broken people?
I don't know that
90,
one yet.
95. So
well, I think the statistic is 87% of human beings have gone through something traumatic.
Yeah.
So that said, I think it's not necessarily their trauma, but like when you're conversing with people, and you talk to a lot of people, you see commonalities and personalities.
Mm-hmm.
You know when you're talking to someone that you're like, oh, this person's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Right? So just really embracing that and knowing that, again, 87% are broken, depending on the relationship or friendship that I'm trying to establish with somebody. You can call me whatever you want to call me. I'm so intentional with people that I let in my space.
Yeah.
There are some people that are hella cool and are like, hey, we should, go coffee, go do that. All right.
Yeah.
But over time, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
People make time for things that are important to them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a fuck how busy you are or anything. If someone wants to share space with you, they will make time.
Yeah.
Their time, it looks different for everyone, right? For me, give me a couple business days, I'll be able to pencil you in, right? For you, it could be, hey, I'm a busy man. All I got to give you is twice a month. And that's a lot for you. So having someone that understands that and knows that, you know what, they're laying it all out there and they're setting expectations. But that's that communication again, right? Like being open and honest about your perspective and what you're in search of in any friendship. Right? Yeah. And whoever you're conversing with, and just, I try my best to create a safe space without judgment for people. I don't want to, by judgment, I mean being reactive to the things that they say. I think there's a great sense of empathy because I can empathize with you and still not want to fuck with you. Right? Or I can empathize with you and we can still be cordial, but you're not one of my pillars, just like I'm not one of yours.
Yeah. I think because there's also like a, I don't know, it sounds kind of bad, but like a, how am I gonna get fed element? You know what I mean? Especially if the person is like in a level where, or like you said, we all got trauma, but like they're at a space where like they're still working through it. They don't really have too much to give. Then I think that's kind of where I go. I go to like you said, an empathy mode of like, okay, I feel you. You know what I mean? Here goes whatever. Whether it's some books to read or like I can help with this and this, but there is a boundary that's set up because at the same time, like, I don't know, it just gives a sense of like you're almost gonna like pull me down a little bit more. You know what I mean? Like it's and those making those decisions are very hard. Because when you could give so much to give so much to somebody, and it's like now again too, and then especially if that man is like not. That's why I think feeding ourselves and being healthy as we can is so important, because then we're able to like, I guess, kind of lend a hand, so to speak, to certain people, or like at least allow a little bit more space for them, as opposed to like, man, my shit's fucked up, and your shit even more fucked up. I can't, I can only take up so much, fucked up energy or whatever. So I don't know. I think that kicks in for some people.
It's gonna ruffle some feathers right now.
Yeah, but it's that's what we do beneath the ink.
You ready?
Yeah, let's hear it.
I think people overcompensate wanting to help other people because they cannot help themselves.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
We, because I used to be this person, and I've switched my dialogue to I don't want to help anyone who doesn't want to help themselves. I used to say I want to help everybody. I want to help everybody. It's not true. I only want to help people that want to help themselves. Yeah. Because that's the shit that I'm on. Yeah. I find that with a lot of people, overgive, then are broken and are hurt. You need to love yourself. Love on yourself more.
Yeah, that was a big lesson for me too, because and I think I was that too. I'm like, even though my shit, I've had times where all this going wrong, I'm all over the place. But I would go into a space and be like, oh, but I know I can make an impact here. Like I'm not able to figure out my shit at the moment, but I know if I do this, or if I tell them they could do this, or whatever it is, even something simple as like cleaning a house or something, you try to project it out and like try to implement your stuff on other people thinking you're doing something, but really I have had to learn to just, especially like you said, they don't want no help, and they'll be resistant, they'll be offensive about it and everything, to where it's like I did have to learn, like, you know what, I gotta just turn that back and just feed myself, you know what I mean, and take care of my stuff, put that energy into whatever I got going on, unless somebody is like really like, hey, you think you can help me, because then they're wanting to help, they're accepting, but you can get in a lot of trouble going around and being like, hey, putting your 2 cents in people's business and stuff. I had to learn that, because it's so clear to us, or to that person that's not in the situation because they're not emotionally in it or whatever. Oh, just do this, just do that. But that person, sometimes you almost have to let the smoke clear for themselves and let them kind of figure it out. Unless they come out the smoke and ask you, but you button your nose around them people's stuff. Oh yeah.
Even the ones that ask you, a lot of them don't want help.
Yep.
That's the other thing too. I get DMs all the time. Oh, can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me? It's not that I don't want to. Mm-hmm. In order for me to live a fulfilling life and recharge the way that I need to, I can't overgive to everyone.
Yeah.
I have to create certain boundaries within myself. And I can see why people that are on a much greater scale than I am have like levels of people in between them.
Yep, you can't.
And why they do like, and the access, I get it. And it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm at a point now where if I can, I absolutely will. But right now, my focus is on impact, helping my clients and putting together events, doing things like this. God keeps telling me that. And that's what I'm focused on.
Yeah, I get that. But that's why even when people were asking me why I was doing this, and to me, it was almost a way to like bring people like yourself on. We have these conversations. Maybe some people get some nuggets about stuff, but it's like, it could be like spread like through multiple people as opposed to like trying to like find somebody individually one by one, little by little. It's like, it's just like a mass,
the ripple effect.
Yeah, the ripple
That's
effect.
Exactly what it is. And I heard that years ago at a mastermind I paid for, and I was like, oh, ripple effect. Oh, whatever. Okay. But now I get it. And it's crazy because I'm not even I'm proud of my following on Instagram. I'm not as big as a lot of people, but in my city, not even in my city, I'll be out and somebody will be like, oh my God, I saw your video about this, and this. Like, that really helped me.
Yeah.
And it's just like, they don't comment on nothing.
Those moments right there keep me going. Those little things. Because we all do. We're all subject to like, you go in those modes where you're like, you know what am I even doing? Like, you know what I mean? And then somebody will sneak in and say something like that. And you're like, okay, yeah, never mind. Let me just keep it going. Like, stuff might it might not show up how I'm expecting it to, but it's
a reminder.
Happening. Stuff is happening. And so I have to remind myself of that. Yeah.
And it's consistency. That's the thing too about being more in your feminine for me. I was so focused and fixated on the end result that I was losing the process. I was losing the growth. I was losing the steps in between. I'd go 0 to 100. Like, okay, good. We're here. Okay. There's so much beauty in the process leading up to, and what I guess how this translates to you is, over time, most people are inconsistent.
Yeah.
The podcast, people start them all the time. I think most, what was the statistic?
That's probably
I want to say it's like 70 or 80% of people don't even make it to 100 episodes.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm all for it. You have to try things that I don't want to say work. You make them work, right? But you have to try things in order to know what works for you. But even still, as you're growing, there are little things that people will start to implement from watching your episodes. And the more that you do it, the greater your chances are for success and being more impactful. Yeah. So when you remove it took, maybe 70 or 80 episodes to reach these thousands and thousands of people, you're focused on bettering the process. How can I make the next episode more impactful? How can I make these clips better? How can I do this? How can I do that? There's so much beauty in the process. Yeah. So we have to embrace that, because if we're constantly looking at the end goal and my Instagram, I was stuck at like 3,000 followers for like a year. Then something happened. Then I went to like 3,500 in a few months. And then I got to 4K, and then 4K came. I was like, what the hell? Like, this shit is crazy. Then in a month, I grew over 1,200 followers from 4K to 5K. Now I'm at 55. Like, I've been trying to celebrate these wins with balloons. And it's moving so fast that I haven't had a chance to. But it's crazy because at 3K, I was just like, this impact isn't enough. This isn't, my stuff isn't growing as much as it's supposed to, this, that, and the other. And I was still making 6 figures from social media. But I was so focused on the wrong things. Yeah. So now as I'm growing, I've focused on the process and the content and the creativity and authenticity of myself. And I think that's what that jump from the 3 to the 4 to the 5 to almost 6 now has been in such a short time. And it's crazy because this falls back into when you are doing the work and you are in alignment. Things happen.
Yeah. And that's the stuff that's like, it's not in your control. You know what I mean? There's no formula. There's nobody saying.
It is because you can control what you do.
Yeah, to that aspect. But as far as like the way, like, there's nobody out there that says, okay, if you make, 100 videos and you have this, this is going to happen. It's not,
There's
it don't
no
work
guarantee.
that way. You know what I mean? You might make one video and the right person see it and your whole shit blow up. Like that's, I think what it takes me back to, like you said, just doing the work, and what is the, like, let's say for specific, for instance, this podcast, my goal is to just literally make an impact, you know what I mean? And have people have real conversations, you know what I mean? So it's like when you start really having that, like that goal, that mission statement really out there, and then you can go back and look at it like, okay, well, my goal is to have real conversations with real people. Okay, I literally do that. Like, so goal achieved, you know what I mean? Like, it's almost like everything else is just extra on top, you know what I mean? So it's like when I find myself getting caught up in the views or this and this and that, it's like, hold on, but why get caught up in that? Because that's not, I already achieved my goal by having that conversation. The rest is just what's gonna come,
And then figuring out ways to promote it more too, right? Adding the collaborations with people too on Instagram, that helps. Those different things you learn over time.
Yeah.
And through experience. And I think when you're receptive to it and you say, okay, I had to get consistent with the episodes. I've done that, right? I've created the clips to share online. Okay, I've done that. Now how can I make this better?
Step by step.
As a dreamer, I know you're very artistic and probably a dreamer too. Like, our minds are going all the time, and sometimes we lack follow through.
Yeah.
And so I've had to have conversations with myself of, okay, I'm not striving for 50 different things. What 2 or 3 things can I do today or this week, depending on how big or small they are, right? And that has helped my business tremendously.
What about the because that's kind of what came to mind when you said it's like not being a perfectionist and just executing, you know what I mean? Like even with this, that's why it's black and gray. That's why it's very quick. Like it's very candid. I thought of ways to make the workflow of it not so extensive to where that would help my chances of being more consistent with it and actually doing it. So do you find yourself doing things like that, or do you have to catch yourself sometimes and be like, you know what? Like, let me not overanalyze, or let me not try to be a perfectionist and then that keep me from even doing it.
Totally. I think that it's all fine-tuning your process. Sometimes we overthink things and then we just don't do them because we're trying to be perfect. But if we get to a point where it's like, okay, now you have it set up, now you're familiar. Just as an example, I'm not saying you have to do this. Maybe consider getting another camera. Right? So if and when you start to edit, you can get different perspectives. Right? That's fine-tuning the process. But for right now, to answer your question, just the fact that you are getting it set up, you've been consistent with your posting, you've been consistent with getting episodes up, you've been consistent with your clips, you just fine-tune it and get better because it's not as hard after you've been doing it for 3 months.
Yeah.
Right? There's some people that come to me and ask me how to do social media, and it's like they went and bought all the shit and don't do nothing with it. I'm like, baby, you need a tripod and your cell phone. Build the habit, build the muscle memory.
Yeah.
Have a running list of topics that you can talk about. Once you fine tune this and you post 2 to 3 times a week, then we can talk about this other shit. But for right now, do this for like a month.
Yeah. There's definitely something about, like, for sure the consistency, but like just being, I almost call it like the Instagram scene. Like you have to be on the scene, and the more you are, the more familiar people are with you, the more, it's just like anything, like the more you hear a song and, oh shit, I actually like that song now. When before you might not even have liked it, but like the frequency of how much you're posting and stuff, there's something to be said about that too.
It is, and I think most importantly, it's the authenticity. For me, like, see if I can sit back.
You get a little. That's how I know when the time is up. When my hips start hurting, I'm like, okay, it's about 2 hours. That's my.
Thankfully,
time clock.
I don't think it's been 2 hours.
That's my time clock right there, my hip.
Shit, I forgot what I was about to say. What were we talking about? You just said something.
Posting
Yeah, being authentic in what you post. I feel like there are a lot of pretenders online.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I really wanted to pride myself on is the way I'm talking to you is how I talk to my clients. Because I think we have this big misconception that we want everybody to like us. We want all the views. We want all the likes. I don't.
You got to find your niche, your little market. Yeah.
You got to get to it and get to it quick. I don't want to pretend to be anything that I'm not to work with the client.
Yeah. And you know what, that's interesting you said that, because like I've battled with that for sure with social media, because I do see that whether it's everybody's doing the same things, or I can see something's not genuine, it comes off cheesy, whatever. I'm real particular on like getting like wrapped up in that game. You know what I mean? I've even had moments where I was like, man, I'm not even like, I want to do the whole opposite. You know, I don't want to do nothing like them, but I'm trying to find ways to like show face on there and do stuff, but like have it be me. You know what I mean? And that's another reason why, even with this, because I literally feel like we're just talking, like it ain't even nobody here, and that was how it had to be for me to be able to do it. You know what I mean? As opposed to like, oh, okay, and here I have another question. Interview, like, I don't know. It just didn't feel natural. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, so I've been trying to find ways to be super genuine. You know what I mean? Like the whole business is called authentic. You know, Black and Gray. So it's like finding ways. I guess if anybody's like, listen, I'm trying to have them to help them to figure out ways to kind of like find their little lane on there, as opposed, because I know a lot of people are like, man, fucking show. They don't like the fact that you almost have to be on there to like, to prosper. You know.
Social media is where it's at.
Yeah.
You love it or you hate it, but you got to get on board with it.
Yeah.
So you figure out ways that it works for you. That's if you're not on social media or online promoting ads, you're doing yourself a disservice for your business.
Yeah.
You just have to learn. That's the evolution. That's where most people are at. How many videos do you get of people that send you shit?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like people are online. Like
that's where the world,
that's where it is.
At, yeah.
I was just at a mastermind where the girl was like, oh, I want my number online, this, that, and the other. I'm looking at her like, you crazy.
Yeah. People don't even like talk on the phone no more. Like you get somebody's number, now they give you your Instagram.
That's all I do.
Close friends, and they'll either call me on Instagram or DM me and all that. When I, I've had their number for years, and it's just, that is just a form of communication. So I've had to like wrap my mind around that fact. You know what I mean? Like, this is just where we at. You know what I mean? So learn to play the game. It's been a journey with that. But it's, I guess it's just like the old head in us, and the change and the progression and excelling and having one thing work for you for years, and then having to get on another.
You have to pivot.
Yeah, you have to.
That's how most business owners go out of business.
Yeah,
they don't pivot. They are afraid of change, and you can look at it like you hate the change, or you can look at it like, this is going to help me grow.
No,
and so again, I do social media in a way that works for me, but I think if we're being real authentic,
the only way to be.
We got to start sharing more about our real struggles.
Yeah.
Like what kind of shit we're overcoming. Because things can be very surface level. Yeah. Right? When we talk about the masculine, the feminine, the da-da-da-da-da. But it's like, well, why are we like this? Right? Like what happened for us that made us like this? And mine was me finding my mom dead, and then my dad dying, neglecting us and abandoning us. Within 2 years, my dad was dead too. We don't have these uncomfortable conversations because we're so fearful of hurting or making someone else feel uncomfortable. Yeah. When in reality, this is my testimony. This is the strength. This is what I should be proud of. I could have become a statistic. I could have been out here hoeing in these streets. I could have been out here selling drugs. I could, there's a lot of different things that I could have done. And so when I look at where I started, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, the racism that was in my household, I was molested by somebody in my family. Like, if we really get to understanding people and why they are the way that they are, that's where their empathy comes in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But then the next level of that is, okay, I don't want to be a victim.
Yeah. It's like the empathy followed with the action. You know what I
Right.
mean? Is a good recipe, because especially even like stuff like that, it's like there's so many people that I think we get it. I forget what they call it. They call it like the spotlight effect or something, like where we think everybody's just like looking at us, or like what we've done is only like happening to us. You know what I mean? But
you're a victim.
yeah, your
You
victim
become a victim.
mentality and all that. But it's like once you hear that oh damn, that happened to her, that happened to him. It's like damn, we all just
it removes
trying
the
to make
shame.
Yeah, exactly. There's something powerful about it for sure. So yeah, I'm totally behind that. And I think, like you said, the empathy and follow with the action, because the empathy could just be like almost. I think if you stay in it too much, like even just something just even popped in my head right now. It's like it's my the dude, the homeless James that came last episode. It's like I had a lot of empathy for him because of like his situation. So I've been trying to, he's came back a couple times, this and that. But it's like now we've done that part. I've gave him things and all that. So it's like now let's the actional part. You know what I mean? Now I want to start having these conversations. All right, man, with James, like, what do you need like medically? Because I know he has a lot of like medical problems. Like, what do you need to do this to get you a job? Like, we got to get you some steps. You almost got to, you got to come up with like a game plan.
Yeah.
As opposed to just like, oh, I understand, I feel it. It's like you said, it can almost be surfacey if you just like, oh, I don't understand because I'm not homeless. So
yeah,
I know how we can implement some plans and get you out of that though. Let's try that. Yeah. What else do you think? Like, why do you think people, um, especially on social media or even anywhere else, like, are like, what do you think that? I guess if we're like scared to show that authentic side or the experiences that have
they're
brought
scared
us
to be
it.
judged.
Just judgment, scared of judgment.
That's all it is. And shame. People. You remember that old saying that like what happens in this house stays in this house?
Yeah.
That's the fucking problem.
Yeah. It is.
I'm not saying broadcast your business with social media. It kind of does do that, but you have to have a certain healing can't start until you accept this has happened to me, and I don't want to stay here.
Yeah. It's like
I'm in salsa classes right now with one of my really good friends because I was molested and I don't like men in my space. I go to the classes because we have a great time, but also I have to dance with 20 different strangers, 20 different strange men, all different energies, all different personalities. But I'm doing it to be more comfortable in energies like this, like in spaces like this.
Yeah.
Because I shouldn't be so uptight and uncomfortable. I should still be aware and keep myself safe, but I have to remind myself that not every man wants to hurt me.
Yeah. Because that I get that. And that's hard. What is that called? It's called like the therapy. That's like a type of therapy, right? When you put yourself in it.
Oh, I don't know. God just be telling me to do stuff and I do it. I'm like, okay,
man,
all right.
I hate when I forget the terms, but it's something like that. It's basically like if you're scared of heights, like you're gonna go jump out of an airplane. Like it's I forgot what the term is, but that's essentially kind of what you're doing. And I think that takes a lot, you know what I mean? It takes a lot of strength and everything. And I think that's where we do get our power from. You know what I mean? We got to get our power back in whatever it is. Because there's so many people dealing with those things. And it almost, I'm even going to say it, it almost even, sometimes it even feels good for a lot of people to like say, okay, this and this happened to me. And then have people kind of like feel bad for him and all that, because then that it's sensing something, it's hitting some senses. But I just would hope that like people can do things like you just mentioned, because then getting their power back is gonna feel even better than getting kind of that empathy or sympathy from somebody,
Totally. We pick and choose what we want to do based off of the reality we create in our head.
Yeah.
The first time I went to salsa class, I had to have a drink. I had a drink.
Yeah.
I did. I had to, because I was like, okay, this is consciously and in my subconscious. This has me feeling so like I want to leave. And I was like, nope, you're here with a safe person. You love to dance. just do it. Then the second time I was like, I for sure don't want to go back. And I'm like, nope, no. We're going to go. And we're going to try it out. And I've been back a few times, still learning all the steps. But I even danced with 3 strangers last week.
Really?
3 strange men.
Yeah.
And like the kind where they grab you and they guide you. And also it's teaching me about femininity.
Yeah.
Letting those men lead.
Yeah. Do you think that that experience, like what happened to you before, that's kind of kicked on some more of that, like kind of like, you know, put a guard up, you know what I mean, when it comes to the opposite sex, or like
totally
more in your masculine energy?
Totally. Yeah, when I'm in, and what's so weird too though is that I get along with men better than women. But embracing my femininity, that's where my 6 women pillars came from. But like conversing with men is okay, but like intimate spaces like this, like if I'm helping clients like yourself, sitting in my car, that was uncomfortable the first couple times.
Oh wow.
I never said anything.
Yeah.
But it's like that kind of stuff like that. And there were so many times where we'd be talking, I wanted to turn the music up because the music was my comfort. But I was like, no, you're gonna sit in this, you're gonna have a conversation.
Yeah. See, and I love that because like I feel like there's so many situations like that, and like people you'll never know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'll never know.
I hit it good, huh?
Yeah, you hit it pretty. I'll be honest, you hit it pretty good, and it I don't know. I guess people. I know why we don't share and don't communicate as much, because there's all that sayings. Oh, you know, don't. You know, you don't got to say everything, or keep your guard up. You know, don't keep. You know, don't. There's a vibe of that, right? To be more strategic with with the wordplay and all that. Which I get it. I understand the reasons why, but like, I guess when you do, I don't know. I guess you have to be that way, because there are people that are like, you know, take advantage of information, stuff like that. But it's like I just think it's real powerful when people actually do say what happened, or like they explain situations, because sometimes I know I've been around people where like I have gotten weird vibes and all of that, to where it's like I've had to tell myself like,
that's not your person.
It's not that, and it's like I don't necessarily think I did anything. That might be just something going on, or maybe they already brought that in it. You know what I mean? As opposed to like some people be like, oh, I don't like them, they weird, I don't like. But it's like, nah, they probably just going through something. That's my problem. Is like I've let's just say like on a date with somebody, and like the energy just was a little off. It like started off just out the gate weird, and I guess it's ego or whatever, been like, oh, okay, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like how it went down or whatever. Like I'm done. Like instead of having a conversation, like, hey, it was something going on. Everything was cool.
Can I ask you a question?
What?
Does it happen when it's calm? Do you feel like that when your dates are like calm and they're just really like cool, calm, and collective?
Yeah, I would say that. I know a little for sure. If we're talking about dating, I know for sure some of that is from years and years of like interacting with women on 10. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of where my mind. You know what I mean?
You're too quiet. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, like because I had to make this realization for myself, especially going out. Especially we were going out, we're drinking, stuff like that. It's like women, you know, they're all way on 10. Like they're acting like way louder, way more aggressive, way bubbly, whatever. And then when it's in just a quiet, just very mundane, just whatever, we just chilling. I think my brain is like, what do you mean? Like you look, this is too. It's not enough for like your dopamines. It's some real.
That's
you know
your nervous system trying to regulate itself. It's and it's okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, I wasn't present for the date, so like I don't know like what that was like. But in interactions with people too, like I naturally have a lot of energy.
You said as the nervous system?
Your nervous system is calming down.
Okay.
And it's making you uncomfortable because you're so used to the toxic. Oh, well, I shouldn't say if they're toxic or not. I don't know. But like you're so used to so used to
the nightlife. Yeah.
The nightlife and being on 10 and aggressive and we gotta argue or like there has to be some sort of conflict.
Right, some passion.
Because that's normal passion.
Yeah. That's what I was talking about. Not necessarily arguing, but like more like passion or more just stimulation. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, we're talking about the weather. Like I guess it is my nervous system. Yeah.
It's your nervous system regulate. That's why I said compatibility and chemistry are two different things. You probably feel the most alive in chemistry and great when you're on 10 outside.
Yeah.
But when you're on a calm date and you're looking for, and you may or may not be compatible with this person, but when you're looking for compatibility, have more conversations about that. Talk more about things that you enjoy. But naturally,
I'm going to start doing that.
You should, in ways, have things that you do. Like compatibility, we're talking about like maybe spirituality. Like y'all can meditate together. Y'all can do yab yum together and like connect intimately that way. I don't know if you like to travel or maybe you find someone that is artistic. Those kind of compatibilities. But in terms of personality, we usually need people that are opposite our personalities. I need a very stable personality person.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And sometimes healthy can be mistaken for boring.
Boy, yeah. I have heard that for sure. Yeah, I have heard that, and I was aware of that. Even like, I mean, it ain't even got to be dating. It could be like a man here. Like I'm like say I got a client or something. That's why I always had kind of an issue with like weed. You know what I mean? Because people, they're kind of just a lot of times just a little bit more quiet, a little bit more closed off, kind of in their own zone, right? And it's like I can't get in, I can't connect with you, and so
because you trauma bonded with people. That's the problem. You looking for what's wrong with you, so we can be wrong together.
Yeah. And it's like if you ain't giving me nothing, then it's like even like I say with a client, then I'll just have to like zone out. You know what I mean? And just put my headphones on. I'm like, okay, yeah, we're not gonna talk during this session really much.
And that's okay. You may not have built up the trust with them yet for them to do that too, especially for a man.
Yeah.
A lot of guys don't talk about their situations. A lot of them aren't as vocal as you are.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
But just really coming to understand that, especially in a partnership or relationship, just understanding that there will be a level of compatibility. And when it's not, having the confidence within yourself to just be like, oh, it's cool. We're just not the same energy, and that's fine.
Yeah. I'm definitely learning that for sure. Just to be okay with it. Not, I feel like I got to a point at some point where I was like, everything had to be like super connected, super deep. If it ain't, even with a tattoo, like if it ain't hella deep and got a deep ass meaning I want to do, I got too much in it.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I had to like basically say it ain't all. Sometimes there's all different varieties of everything. I don't have to like always, because then my thing, what I've been working on lately is just the expectation part. Because now if I was expecting all those things to be like that, it's almost like it's just a very tense energy. It's like, oh, it gotta be that.
That's being focused on the outcome.
Yeah.
We have to do a better job of being focused on the present.
Yeah.
And what's happening right now. Right? There's a lot of lessons that we can learn in the right now and in the process. Rather it's tattooing somebody who don't want to talk to you, or me working with a client who is completely polar opposite in terms of personality type. Now, usually I understand who my clientele is, and on occasion, I may get somebody who's a super analytical, direct person. We vibe on the direct part, but they're analytical and need spreadsheets and documentation, all of that, which I'm usually not that person, but because I understand personality types, I can be a chameleon and work with them. But in the beginning, I was like, nah, same thing. I don't want to fucking work with them. Remember I was telling you about Prius drivers. It's usually a Prius driver. But understanding that personality chart and seeing some sort of commonality in it has helped me understand who my partner has to be, and also who my ideal client is and where I can shapeshift and become a chameleon. And there's nothing wrong with it. I do want to authentically be myself, and I still am. I still talk like this to someone who's a super direct and analytical person. But in order, and this is very helpful in relationships and friendships, understanding their desires and their need. Removing my ego of, well, I just want to be myself and do stuff how I want to do. The end goal is still the same. They're an amazing client. It's my job, because in this relationship of working together, the common goal is to get you a house. I know how to become this chameleon to serve you and give you what you need to help you move to the next step, because ultimately we're working towards the same goal.
Yeah.
Which can also be tied into relationships. That's why There's so much ego in relationships. It's sickening.
Yeah.
What can you do for me? Well, how come this? How come this? When you are in a place of, and again, no one is completely healed and no one is perfect. But when you are in a place of self-awareness and you understanding you're mostly whole. I'm a very whole person. I love what I do. I'm very purpose-driven. I've come to love people with boundaries and discernment. I'm a very whole person. So with my relationship, that requires a very whole person where you have a life outside of us. Go do whatever the fuck you need to. And I've said this and I'll say it again. I do not want 50% of a person 100% of the time. Give me 100% of you 50% of the time. Does that make sense?
I like that. Yeah.
You go do your thing, but when we're together, I want to be a spoiled little princess. I'm turning off the masculine. Give me 3 places where we the 3 options, because that's a big thing, right? Oh, what do you want to eat? What do you want to eat? Part of leading is if you know your woman is indecisive and don't know what the fuck she wants, you cannot get frustrated. As a leader, it's your job to, how do I troubleshoot this? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I really like that. I really like the part where you said I want 100% of the person, 50%, because that's kind of how mine would work. Because it's like, that's where I get a little shaky when it comes to relationship, friendships, whatever it is. I'm not like a phone person, you know what I mean? I'm not a like, let's just text all the time. This and that. I'm like, I'd almost rather like just focus on whatever I'm doing at that moment, and then we are spending that time together. Then I'm just turning everything off, and it's just me and you.
Yeah.
But sometimes, I mean, I've heard even from a lot of people, it's like just a little text here and there. You know, women do like they love the good morning texts and all this and that. And
but that's the 50%.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you when we're not together. So here's the thing. Going back to prioritizing time. As a busy man, only you know what you can give to a woman. Right? However, in between the time, those little messages that you know work for her, you learn your partner. In general, women want to be thought of. Women want to feel like, oh, he's tattooing, but he sent me a message that he was thinking about me.
Yeah.
That's the kind of shit girl, listen, look at what my man said. Like that kind of shit. And then when you're together, I want to feel you. I want to experience you with no distractions.
Yeah. I think that's important. Yeah. That's important for men to hear, because they, you know, I think sometimes it's like we all have our own way of doing that. Like some people are more on the, I know I've had clients where it's like they texting and you know, and they're calling the girl this and this and that, but then when the girl, like maybe like the girl will come, then in person it's like, I'm like, damn, they was doing all this on the phone, but now that she's here, like I don't feel their connection. It's weird. It's like
texting,
you know what I mean?
Is going to fucking kill us as a society.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit how introverted you think you are. Texting removes emotion. It removes context. It is not a way to connect and build relationships with people.
Yeah.
People use that as a crutch. There is not, even send a fucking voice memo.
Yeah, that's better.
Tonality, those kinds of things matter, but ultimately, again, phone calls and in person. That's how you really know if somebody fucks with you.
Yeah, because the eyes don't lie, and the actions, your body language, and all that.
All that stuff.
It's hard to hide shit in that. Yeah. Those are some good tips, though, for sure. I think, yeah, that's a good one. And there's like, it's like never ending too. You know what I mean? Because there's always gonna be. I feel like even as a species, we're like, there's gonna be new technologies we're gonna have to like battle with and work around, find workarounds and adapt to them and all of that. Yeah, that's so interesting. Yeah.
Can I say one more thing before we end?
Yeah.
I just want to go back to the femininity part because my fucking stomach started growling.
Oh. Go ahead. Yeah.
I was going somewhere with that.
Ended on femininity.
So just to reiterate, I think that as women, we allow ourselves to get caught up in the hyper independent thing and say that that's just who I am. Someone needs to come take it or leave it. And that is a very masculine thing to say.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a deterrent for a man.
100%. And it's a way for them to let themselves off the hook. You talked about accountability with women earlier. We have to be accountable for acting like fucking men, behaving like men. I wear dresses and high heels, hoops, all this. I don't leave my house unless 2 of 3 things are done. My hair, my makeup, and I'm dressed. 2 of those 3 things have to be done. You would not imagine, and I don't do it for the compliment, I do it for myself. I don't leave, I feel like a bad bitch the moment that I leave my house.
Yeah.
That energy makes me feel good. I don't do it for compliments, but you'd be surprised how many compliments I get from men who don't even want to like fuck with me. That are just like, I can't remember the last time I saw a woman in a dress. Oh, that color looks really nice on you. Oh, let me get that door for you. Oh, you dropped something, let me get it for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's so much power in femininity.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about like how fucked up it is right now with all of the femininity and masculinity messed up. And it's because men were not taught how to be men, and women have now become or tried to become men. This independent, I am woman, hear me roar shit is overrated.
Yeah. And again, it's like there's so many positives from it, but I think we've just like reached a threshold where it's like, okay, now it's almost it's leading to like negative aspects, you feel me, as far as the dynamics between men and women.
Everyone thinks they want an alpha, and I'm like, first of all, you behave like an alpha. Secondly, you don't want an alpha. Because in a way, the masculinity in our businesses as women, I'll never take this away from me or anyone else. It's needed. I do think that women do, even though we are heavily in our masculine, there's a certain nurturing and a certain touch of emotion that women can bring to businesses. Yeah, but in our household, at home, that's where you need the balance, and you need a partner that has that balance too, because I don't want somebody to tell me what to do. I want to collaborate with a partner. I want us to have goals together. I want us to both be able to bring something to the table to create this bigger thing.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't think all women want this alpha that they think they do. Maybe they do. I don't know. But I think that hearing a lot of women who are in their alpha saying they want an alpha is not truly what they want. I think they need to do more work on themselves, start carrying themselves more feminine. That was what I was saying with the lingerie at home. Like, that's for me. Yeah. I used to get up in the morning when I was working from home. I wouldn't even do my hair. And then I was like, you can't. No, you're going to put on matching whatever. And you're going to do your hair. You're going to throw your hoops on, throw on a little mascara because it's for you. Yeah. I do date nights at home for me. I take bubble baths and do masks and all kinds of shit at home that nobody sees because it's for me and my feminine.
Yeah. There's a lot of power in that too. It's like it's almost like your identity, like your it's your like superhero costume. Like when you taking those things away, you don't feel right. Like when like right now, I had a haircut in 2 weeks, and I'm like getting fucking all weird. I'm gonna get a cut tomorrow, but like that's one of the things. Like if I don't have a fresh cut, I just start not feeling, because that's that's just my uniform. And when you ain't got a uniform, you're not ready to go to work. They even say that like. There's like a lot of psychology behind like even like what was I watching a talk about it? It was like a CO or something like that, and at work he puts his uniform on, he's doing what COs do. He has to be hard. You can't show no weakness and all that kind of stuff. And he made it a point to, like, before he came home, to take that uniform off, because when he has that on, you psychologically you start changing. You start
totally.
So it's like you want to take that off. So the same way goes for when it's like positive. Like when you put that dress on, you feel a little more energy. You feel this and that. You're gonna talk this way, that way. It's like you kind of play that part. And I think some people have. You can see it, because you can see how people have, like, if you look. Maybe they're not doing so well in life right now. Then you find some old pictures, like, well, shit, who was this person? Because they look way different. Right. What has happened? It's like
there's a shift.
Yeah, there's been a shift in your energy, your appearance, and all of that. And it's like there is something about, like, or something may happen, like getting back to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To wherever that was. But yeah, I'm glad you said that. 'Cause it's the same for men. I always tell like young men, like, if you ever want to feel respected, go get a suit. Go rent a suit for a day and just go in through the world and through life and go out to eat and see how them doors get open for you. Like, it's all psychology, like appearance psychology stuff.
And how you carry yourself too, because I'm not saying all women need to wear dresses. All I'm saying is care about yourself when you leave the house.
Yeah.
Like those kinds of things are really important, because I've met men where I'm like, oh, you're quiet money. They don't wear suits, but you know, the shirt, as you could tell, it's just a nice shirt and nice shoes, the belt, the way that they wear it, the watch, the way, like, it's a certain way that people carry themselves where there's just respect that naturally comes with it. And I mean, I wear jeans. I could wear jeans, some high heels, and a t-shirt and still get the same respect as in a dress because my shirt is colorful or something like that. So all I'm saying is there's a lot. I don't want us to get so far away from femininity that we forget how beautiful it is.
Yeah. And that's what I think. I think that's what happened. It's kind of gotten looked at as like weak. You know what I mean? And it's very interesting how that's happened though. It's a trip. Like the last maybe 10 years, you've seen like just a drastic change. You know what I mean? To where, but yeah, you know, I think just conversations like this and just the opinions, and I would love for people to like comment and because I do want to hear other people's perspective. That's one thing I really love, and I love doing it.
Up in these comments.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah, just a different perspective. Even a man like I'll have conversations with like even my partners and shit, and we'll have like completely different points of view, and so it's not as simple as like men and women. No, there's so many different like the personalities we're talking about, experiences, kind of shape your opinions. So I think that's almost in a sense kind of what makes it kind of fun. You know what I mean? Because then you get to like ask questions or talk to people and not almost like paint everybody with the same brush or judge them just by looking. There might be another woman that kind of, you know, looks similar to you, dresses similar, and have a completely different perspective. Totally. And it's like, I think we have forgotten about that. We think we're so used to just looking at pictures. Oh yeah, she like this, she like that. Like we're so desensitized that we forget that people are unique as hell. You know what I mean? When it get to a deep level, on the surface, we all kind of start to act the same, but like in a deeper level, we're very unique. We're our own journey. You know what I mean? Totally. So yeah, so that's beautiful. That's beautiful. How you feel? You got another couple hours in you, or do a take two? Take two. I would let you know. I do want to do that. I want to do like kind of like follow-ups with everybody just to see, you know, again, like the progression and just what life does.
I'll be able to talk a lot more about certain things in a little bit. So yeah, we'll do a take two.
All right. Thank you, Jess. Appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. My hip was starting to hurt, so I knew it was getting that time.
What time is it? 12:15?
Oh yeah.